This is my third Lifeweaver video in a row, but trust me, it's for good reason.
Diamonds look like PP. Bitches fly from DC on my private to Waikiki. 3P. Niggas is my son.
Now, is Lifeweaver actually meta? Well, considering the best American team played Weaver twice against another top team, and other regions are playing the Weaver too, maybe he is. Let's find out. Firstly, we need to address the elephant in the room, being the insane Weaver strat on Circuit Royale. Now that we've seen more BAP Weaver, the strengths and weaknesses are a little more clear. Their ultimates aren't very good, their space control after grip usage isn't very good, and there's no speed boost. Conversely, BAP Weaver have very powerful sustain cooldowns to prevent someone from dying early. They also both have verticality, high healing outputs, and BAP can individually carry by pure damage, something we'll get to see a bit later. For now, admire this beautiful setup by GK Esports with the Weaver cast on the left and the rest of the team on the right. You might wonder why UV is playing this aggressively, but again, it's for UV's damage value, and if there just so happen to be an ultimate invested to kill UV, there's always a grip to bail him out. On the other hand, Ramon hacks the Mega in the room as well as the Mini on the left side to give Kuffer more staying power in the room. Speaking of Kuffer, the room provides a great opportunity to wall off Infected, which is exactly what we see first fight. Infected gets baited to push and clear GK, but a clean wall splits the Baptiste from his Orisa, leading to free space control. In the meantime, Admiral petals up to give his Bap a helping hand, later flanking through the room to clean up the Baptiste. Notice how this position allows Weaver to retreat to the back high ground, but to also flank through like we just saw. Next fight, we see Admiral gripping away his Cassidy because of the pressure from the Orisa and Genji. Immediately after, a Petal is given to Lethal, who's able to reach the high ground and punish the Genji safely. Meanwhile, Kuffer is just preventing the enemy backline from walking up, with UV using his lamp to trade off the aggro Kuffer is taking, on top of that hacked Mega coming back to save him. Now, the Lifeweaver did get a ton of value here, but in reality, the Kiriko ban enabled this fight win entirely. Let me explain. Say right now, instead of an Illari, we had a Kiriko next to the Genji. It's way less likely that Zero would die, and Vega would be getting way more value than jerking off down main. The Kiri ban also protects Weaver as a side benefit too. Vega could play Brig instead of Illari, but it looks like he's mind controlled to play Illari for some reason. Also notice how the Orisa Genji effectively gets sandwiched by both sides because they don't clear out the left side. Honestly, I don't know why Liquid don't just 5-man clear the top left, which would force everyone on GK to give space. It's probably down to how new and novel the Weaver comp is that teams haven't figured out how to play against it yet. Speaking of clearing, Infected tries to solo clear top. Not only does he get walled in again, but Kuffer body blocks, causing his death outright. Fortunately, because Zero is the GOAT, he not only forces life grip, but he commits for the kill and lands it onto Lethal. Sadly, because Vega is on possibly the worst support to play into that comp, Zero's efforts are undermined, dying to a Weaver with no help. That pick onto Lethal though, does cause Team Liquid to act fast, with Infected going straight past the Baptiste, ignoring his window and popping Terror Surge. However, Admiral is right there with the grip, saving his ass entirely, but we're not done there. Ramon's EMP now gives a trigger for his team to dive in, and dive in they do. Kuffer even catches 3 final blows, and things are looking dire for Team Liquids, but still we're not done there. Lethal takes the Petal for next fight, popping High Noon, which perfectly zones the Genji Illari trying to flank over the rooftops. He straight up just gets the kill onto Zera, and Admiral grips Lethal away to avoid dying to the captive Sun. Unfortunately, UV does end up going down, and because of the attacker's advantage, GK are forced to give up the fight. The crazy thing is though, if Admiral had LOS onto Kuffer, he could have gripped him out of the orbital ray, which would have been insane. Now, a lot goes down in this final attacking fight, but I want to draw your attention to the aggressive life grip onto Lethal, which drags him in front of the BAP window. Infected tries to draw them off the high ground with Terror Surge, but we all know what ends up happening. I don't think I've ever seen a gameplay trailer had this much representation in an actual pro game. From there on, it's just cleanup, and you get to see a bit of Lifeweaver damage come into play. I do feel bad for Infected because on his defense, his Terror Surge also gets outplayed both times. The first time, it's a simple grip onto UV, and the second time in the very last fight, well, I'll show rather than tell you.
Ramona's jumping behind as well, pulled in on the Terra Surge,
my
but the Petal,
God. Oh, he did it, he got it.
Counters it.
No
Perfect
way.
tech from
Yeah.
Admiral, counters for Terra Surge completely, and UV continues to use this window. Victory tree on point, and the Petal saves the day. Another perfect example of Lifeweaver gap.
Before I continue, check out my Twitch if you want to see my co-stream, and check out my coaching too if you actually want to get better at the game. We've also seen more play outside of Circuit Royale, and this time on Kings, they didn't have a Kiriko ban to bail them out. Instead, they banned Lucio, making it harder to clear space while also protecting Weaver again. To understand how the Weaver adapts to this, we first need to understand what Team Liquid want to do. To put it very simply, if the Orisa, Tracer and Kiriko reach that Weaver backline, it's game over. You can see here, Infected actually uses the Weaver Petal himself to get to backline, now becoming extremely hard to clear, but also becoming a very big threat. He then drops down, Terra Surges, and because Admiral's Petal bounces off his own tree, the Terra Surge does get value. Now, Infected ignoring the hazard might look confusing to you, especially when I just said he should be cleared. The difference here is that Ramon's already been cleared, Koffa is half HP, and Liquid are now playing Ana, who's got that sleep dart to threaten the hazards. So, what does the Weaver comp do against this? Well, it's to prevent the Orisa Tracer from ever reaching him in the first place. The map plays a big part in this. King's Row is Tracer's worst map. Inaccessible high grounds, long narrow sightlines, and flank paths that are all very telegraphed, coupled with how good of a duelist Baptiste is, and it's no wonder that we see him catch the Tracer early on alongside his hazards. But even if someone starts to lose a duel, Life Grip is always there to bail them out, referring back to the idea of trading and matching cooldowns so nobody can die early. It's not just Baptiste though. Ramon solo EMPs the Tracer one fight, and it really is as simple as it looks. Literally the fight straight after, Zera dies first again, but to a Sojourn headshot. On third point, it becomes even harder with the high grounds. Even though Zera is technically set up, Lethal just takes the Weaver platform, popping the overclock and catching 2 kills. Yes, the pulse bomb did miss, but even if it landed, it would have just gotten gripped or lamped. Now, there is one more fight I need to talk about, and get ready because it's a pretty bad fight. Now, I'm just gonna put Koffa's gameplay in the background while you watch Team Liquid do absolutely nothing to force him out. It should be illegal for Koffa to stage shit on the high grounds when he's an actual threat with Bubble this time. Now, Koffa is eventually forced out, but because of Bap Weaver, they just trade out a lamp for an overclock. Even worse, UV is able to jump to the high grounds, getting a massive window and burning anybody he sees. This wasn't the first time that we've seen this, but again it shows why Bap Weaver are being played here. Anyways, because Liquid refuse to clear space before they push, they lose this fight in dramatic fashion.
Oh my god.
Oh
Infected
my-
also to live again and he's dead.
Why are we gullible? Can we just push one angle?
Liquid.
We're both 1v5 ult!
Koffa jumped 3 times before anyone did anything. 2 bubbles. That's 25 seconds of setup. Do not let a monkey stage jump, set up a dive in front of your face, and do nothing about it. Either slide up, use an ult, and push him out and stop his setup, or fucking go to another part of the map and do something.
Now, Lifeweaver isn't the only niche pick. We've also seen Mercy involved too, specifically on Circuit Royale. The constant healing prevents targets from being two-shot by Freya, she can more easily get reses, and there's clear pocket targets from both Freya and Pharah. Specifically, Calyx was mostly damage boosting Checkmate, but whenever Lupta was getting ready to fire multiple bolts, Calyx would switch onto him. If you want to see a dedicated Mercy video, let me know down below. I also got a comment about Moira being picked, but the Weaver content just performs better, so that's why I'm doing a third video. So, is Lifeweaver meta? Well, kind of. He's still fairly map dependent where you need long sightlines and high ground to make reaching him a lot harder. I also think teams still just don't know how to play into it yet. However, I can say that Weaver is actually viable, not a troll pick. A few months ago, I made a video about the most buffed heroes in Overwatch, and Weaver had like 30 buffs or something ridiculous. And he's gotten more buffs since that video. Anyways, click this video on screen if you enjoyed, and until next time.